everybody, it's Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and it's Reginald, the Celestial Microphone. Welcome back to another week of What I Crocheted. I feel like I didn't do that much this week, but looking over to my side here, I've got a decent pile of stuff. I also finished Stranger Things, and I have some thoughts on the end of Stranger Things. So we're going to talk about that later, and you're going to have to just indulge me in my rant for a moment. All right, so let's just jump right into it, because after I'm done filming this, Ryan and I are sitting down to film the very first episode of the Cosmic Couch podcast, which you will see on Friday. Mark your calendars, Friday, 9 a.m. Be there or be square. Ryan and I are going through Reddit and talking about Reddit, like crochet hot takes. We're gonna play some games. We have some calls in from subscribers. It's gonna be a blast, so don't miss it. And if you guys like the Cosmic Couch podcast, then we'll keep it going. But I want to get through this video relatively quickly because it is already 1 o'clock in the morning and I still need to film these 2 videos. So let's get into it. First thing that I have to show you is kind of a follow-up from last week. So I showed you my little Highland cow and little lazy piggy. So I designed both of the patterns out of necessity for a item that was like a farm / barnyard animal, because they always sell really well for me at market, but one that didn't take me a lot of time and materials so that I could put a lower price on it. So I was thinking about putting $18 on these guys. I did actually already sell the Highland cow, so that just goes to show it flew. I actually sold it to a subscriber, so thank you again. So I don't have the Highland cow here to show you, but this is the little piggy, and I will put a picture up on the screen of what the Highland cow looks like. Both of these patterns have been through testing and they were released a few days ago. So if you have been waiting to get your copy of Little Lazy Piggy and Lazy Coo, they're up on my website and on Etsy, which is exciting. Oh, speaking of Etsy, and since I'm wearing my professional hobby collector sweatshirt today that I practically live in, I am now selling my apparel on Etsy. So just so you know I told you that last week, but I know some people get like weary about purchasing things through the website, and because Etsy is generally really good about like customer satisfaction and all of that good stuff, which is great. So if you have not been wanting to get any patterns or apparel or stickers or anything like that, it is all now available on my Etsy as well. It is a little bit more expensive on Etsy though, because Etsy has insanely high seller fees. So if you don't mind getting something from the website, that's the route that I will go, because it's going to save you a few bucks, because I have to up the prices on Etsy to compensate for the higher Etsy commission that they get from every sale. But that is another story for a different time. I could go on a whole rant about Etsy and how they treat sellers and the insane fees and all of that. But that is not a topic for right now. Maybe we can do a podcast episode about it. Just wanted to let you know that Lazy Cow and Lazy Piggy patterns are up. A comment last week suggested that I add little wings to it, and I thought that that would be so cute because he kind of looks like he's like nose diving. I wanted to design the face to be different than like normal pig faces that you see. I know I talked about this a little bit last week, but generally when you see pig patterns, they have like the more oval snout. I wanted this to be a little bit more like a baby pig, like a little pinched face, as opposed to like a giant circular snout or like a piggy bank. Like piggy bank faces are adorable, and actually I kind of want to crochet a piggy bank now. I feel like that would be very cute. Oh my gosh, maybe I should make Celeste a piggy bank that has like a pocket inside of it that she can put play money inside of. That's an idea. I might want to do that. But I digress. I wanted the face on this little guy to be a little bit more pinched and baby-like. So yeah, little lazy piggy. Oh, also, I didn't mention this last week, but the pattern gives you the option to sew the head on like this, so that way they look like they're laying flat and, you know, they're being lazy. Or you can turn it around this way, put the tail on the other side, and then put the head on facing this way, and then it looks like they're standing up and they just have like this cute little belly body, and then the tail would go over here. So that's an option as well. You could have them like anthropomorphic standing up if you want to. So Little Piggy will be going to market, and I will plan on making many more of these because I know that they will sell well for me. Oh, Angel got its wings. Nope, just a Facebook message. Maybe somebody from Facebook Marketplace. You guys, I still have been trying to get my grubby paws on a piece of glass for the dolphins, which you can see down there. My Lisa Frank inspired pastel dolphin coffee table. I need a piece of glass for it. A couple people suggested that I go to like Lowe's or Home Depot because they might be able to cut glass. We just have very few locations around where I live. We do have Menards, but I haven't heard anybody say that Menards does glass cutting. So I've just been looking on Facebook Marketplace for people in the area who are selling like a really cheap glass top coffee table, and I was just gonna scrap the base of the coffee table and then utilize the top of it. But I need like a very specific size, and preferably an oval, so that I don't accidentally hit my shins on the glass corners and break them open like a piñata. Because if you didn't know, that's what comes out of me when I break open my skin is candy. Okay, let me show you the next thing that I made. Let's do this. So this is a really sweet make. So this was actually a pattern test for Naughty Nat on Instagram. You might have heard the name before with all of the crochet YouTubers talking about the little Chonkymon. Naughty Nat is the one responsible for producing the Chonkymon patterns, and she lists all of them for free on her Instagram. So you might be familiar with her. Well, she is a mom of twins, and her twins were in the NICU as babies. And I don't know the full story. I just know that they're older now. I don't know how old, but they were NICU babies. So Natalie is her name. She has this like place in her heart for NICU parents, NICU babies, nurses, all of that wonderful stuff. And as a NICU mom myself, I really appreciate that. And so because of her backstory, she has decided to create a line of crochet patterns that are specific for babies in the NICU. And if you did not know, little babies, when they come out the womb, the slip and slide, if you will, or the sunroof, there's no perfect way to give birth. I've done both. Can't say I prefer one over the other. Actually, yes, I do. My C-section was a heck of a lot easier than natural birth, but neither here nor there. So when babies are first born, they are used in the womb to holding on to the umbilical cord. That's like their only toy. It's their very first toy is holding on to that umbilical cord. So when they're freshly born, especially premature babies who are in the neonatal intensive care unit, which if you did not know, that's what NICU stands for. It's for the babies who are born prematurely, who need some help developing and getting bigger and stronger for a multitude of reasons. the nurses in the NICU will often give them something that resembles an umbilical cord for them to hold on to. And it's like a comfort to them because it's something that they're used to. Naughty Nat is creating this line of NICU toys, I guess we could call them. She's done a couple. I think this is actually her first one, but she's already working on more of them. So this is like a sunshine rainbow cloud. I don't remember how she worded it, but this is what it looks like. Now, as you can see, mine is huge. Don't take that out of context. But I used plush yarn, and the pattern, I mean, you could use plush yarn or like cotton or acrylic. Obviously, if you used acrylic yarn, it would come out a much more appropriate size for a NICU baby. I wanted to use plush yarn just because I wanted to see how big it would come out. And since I was a pattern tester for this, I wanted to really like get my paws on this pattern early, because if you did not know, every August, I do some sort of fundraiser or charity drive, something to donate to the NICU. I have told this story before and I won't harp on it here because it's a very sad story, but if you did not know, our firstborn son, Sawyer, he was born on August 10th, 2023, and he was a full-term baby, born a day before his due date, but unfortunately was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck and passed away at 17 hours old. So I was not a NICU parent for long, but during the few hours that I was there with him, it was the scariest time of my entire life. And so in honor of his birthday every year, I do something to donate. So the first year I raised over 100 board books to donate to the NICU so that parents would have something to read to their babies while they were sitting there. Last year, with your guys' help, we were able to donate over 100 blankets and hats to NICUs around the country. They're still being distributed actually, but those hats and blankets are for babies who pass so that they have some sort of last warmth before they are buried or cremated. So as I mentioned, it's very sad, so I don't talk about it a ton, but I saw the pattern test for this and I was like, this is the kind of thing that I love to do, because it's because of Sawyer that I crochet today. I learned how to just to make him things when I was pregnant with him. And then after he passed, it's how I coped. And so that is why I am where I am today. So I saw this pattern test listing and I was like, I have to do that in honor of my boy. So actually this tattoo, if you ever see this tattoo, that is the baby loss awareness ribbon, which is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. And that's his name right there. So if you're wondering, there's a little Katie lore about one of my tattoos. So for the pattern itself, it was probably one of the most flawless pattern tests that I have ever done. There was not any mistakes or any typos or anything. Like, she had it down pat. It was very easy to do. For the cloud, you make 3 circles. You make 2 smaller circles, 1 large circle, and then you crochet them all together. You do a round at the bottom here of back loop only so that you leave the front loops to go back and crochet all of the little tendrils here. And it was very easy. I would say this took me, the cloud itself did not take me very much time. I would say like a half an hour. Honestly, the tentacles are what takes the longest amount of time. If you've ever made like squid or octopi or jellyfish, you know that the tentacles take a while. They take a hot minute to make. So that was the biggest chunk of my time. I would say overall probably took me about an hour and a half to make this. And I wanted to get my hands on the pattern early so that I could start brainstorming this year for Sawyer's birthday what we're going to do to donate. And I was thinking this year maybe doing like little gift bags for the parents who are, you know, sitting there with their children. So like little things like chapstick and pack of tissues and maybe some like sweet snacks and little keepsake things. I'm not sure yet, but also including maybe a pattern similar to this, or maybe I can even work with Naughty Nat and see if she would be willing to like donate the pattern so that we could make it and donate little, in cotton or acrylic yarn, little NICU baby squeezer toys, so that all those little babies who are scared and healing can have something to comfort them. I think that would be really special. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the pattern. It was easy. I don't know if it's released yet. If it is, I will link it in the description box. I will also link Naughty Nat's Instagram because she's got a bunch of great patterns on there and she's just a very sweet person. Oh, I will say I did embroider some little stars on it. I mean, it's not my best embroidery work. I tried, but because the holes in this yarn are so big, I used a 6.5mm hook and burlap baby blanket. Honestly, I should have used a 6 because there are a few like, I wouldn't call them like big holes. They're just, it's a little holy, just a little. But because of that, it was very difficult to get my embroidery to work out nicely. So it does look a little bit sloppy, but I do think that it adds a little something, something. Plus, I love embroidering with gold thread. It's just like, I don't know, doesn't it add like an air of classiness? I feel like it does. Oh, and of course, for the little rainbow raindrops, I guess you could call them, I used Basics Brights by Premier in tie-dye, and this color is called In Harmony. It is one of my favorite variegateds. This skein that I used, though, actually it took a full entire skein and like, I don't know, a couple grams of a second skein to make this. But this skein that I was using had a lot of white in it. Like normally it doesn't have giant gaps of white like this. I think it's okay, especially for this project. It was just interesting. I just kind of clocked it. I grabbed the skein and I was like, there's a lot of white in this. Normally it's completely filled with color. Like this is a large section of just white, which was interesting, but that's not normally how it is. Highly recommend the Premier Basic Chenille Tie-Dye. Great yarn. They have great colors and pretty affordable too. Also, don't forget, there's a Premier affiliate link in my description box. It doesn't cost you any more money, but I earn a small commission off of it, in which case I can put it to getting more yarn. So that is my little happy cloud, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think I'm going to go ahead and take it to market. I feel like some parent maybe who has their rainbow baby will see this and think that it's really special, and I just think that it's going to go to a good home. So I'm going to put it in the body bag to go to market. Speaking of pattern tests, excuse me, speaking of pattern tests that I did this past week, this one is actually from 2 weeks ago. I just didn't show you guys last week because the pattern wasn't released yet, so I didn't want to show you guys before the pattern was out, but now it is out. So I will show it to you now. Unless you saw last Friday's vlog, the crochet with me, like a week of crochet with me, then you guys have already seen this. So you might have gotten a spoiler, but this is a pattern test that I did for the one and only Tara here on YouTube, Old Soul Factory. This, if you do not recognize him, if you are not an anime fan, this is a character from the show One Piece, the anime actually, One Piece. This is Captain, she calls the pattern, Luffy. Luffy D Monkey, right? That's what it's called, Ryan? That's his name?
Luffy.
It is Luffy?
Yeah.
Dang it, I always get it wrong. Luffy D Monkey, right? That's his full name? His government issued name that's on his ID. So she just calls the pattern Captain, but I love this. I don't know if she's doing like a full line of characters or if it was just this like one-off, but she called it a Chunko pattern. So I think it was kind of like a play on like the Funko Pops, but it's a Chunko because it's like a chunky plushie. And actually, you can't really tell now that the head is done, but it actually starts in a square. And in my vlog, I made a mention of that. I'm like, oh, this head is actually a square, which I thought was a really cool way of doing it. For his nose, I actually did a bobble stitch nose, which I do not do often. Normally I just like embroider across, but I did this on the mermaid last week and I thought that it looked really cute. So I just did a surface crochet bobble. It's nothing really that fancy. I literally just took a slip knot on my hook, inserted into the stitch, did a 3 yarn over bobble, fastened off and weaved in my ends. It was that simple. Oh yeah, also his hat is detachable, but it keeps falling off. But I do think that I should keep it detachable. I don't know. I haven't seen the show. Does he take his hat off? Does he have other attire? Is he a supermodel walking the runway with different outfits, or does he always wear this outfit? Which after like 27 seasons of the show, I wouldn't assume is a very stinky outfit. But I don't know. I haven't seen it. This was the plushie, by the way, if you saw the vlog on Friday. I accidentally sewed his wig cap upside down. So I originally made the face and I put the nose like here, right? And then I sewed the wig cap on and I turned it around. I'm like, why is his nose so high? And then I realized that I accidentally sewed the wig cap to the wrong side of the head. So it's okay. My decreases, I feel like, are very neat there on the bottom. You can't even tell that I decreased. So I'm okay with it. Usually I like having the decreases on the top of the head if I'm making dolls, because then the wig cap covers all of those unsightly holes. But it worked out. I love his little ears. They're like little Shrek ears in such a cute, very character styled way. Oh, his vest is also removable, which is nice. And look at how flat his butt is. I feel like you could definitely put weight in here, which I was going to do. But to be honest with you, I was too lazy to get off my butt and come out here and get poly pellets. So I didn't weight him, but I feel like you absolutely could weight his little butt and then he would sit on a shelf like that. And I think that that's precious. His head is very floppy. Oh, he lost his hat. He lost his wig. Snape, Severus Snape, Dumbledore. Let me pick up this hat before I lose it. What else do I want to say about it? Oh, his eyes. I custom made his eyes and they're not that exciting. Actually, they're not exciting at all. They're literally just white mica powder. And I did that because the character in the anime does not have any irises. They're just big white voids with a little tiny black pupil in them. So I was like, I don't really know what color to make his eyes. I could have just guessed what color this character's eyes are. But I just decided to use white mica powder, and then it kind of creates the illusion like that's just like the whites of his eyes and he doesn't have an iris. I don't know if it comes off like that, but that's what I was going for, and that's what we're working with. And I did choose to use the Burnout Mystical Sunshine color in the hat here, as well as his little sash belt, because I feel like it kind of looked like wicker. Is that the right term? Ryan, what's the type of fabric that's like wicker? Like his hat? Is it called wicker? Like a straw hat?
Yeah.
Would it just be straw?
I think so.
I don't know. It's like the texture of frosted mini wheats. Like, I would imagine wicker to taste like what frosted mini wheats taste like. Probably better though. TBH. Anyways, there is Luffy. He's a Luffy guy. Let's move on. Okay, well, here, let me show you this. It's not very exciting because it's literally just an eyeless head. So here's the story behind this, and I'll make it brief. I was going for making a red panda. I bought a really cute pattern on Etsy, which I'll go ahead and link for you, even though I don't have it to show you. It's a really well-written pattern. Here's the thing, though, is that there's a lot of color changes in a red panda, especially for the face. And the pattern calls for using yarn under. I am a yarn over crocheter. As you can see from my stitches, they look like Y's and not, or V's and not X's. If you yarn under, then your stitches look like an X. Oh, sorry if you hit the mic there. But if you yarn over, then they look like a V or like a Y. And I can crochet both ways. It just uses a lot more brain power for me to crochet yarning under because it's not what I'm used to doing. And generally when I'm like binge watching a show like Stranger Things or Bridgerton or whatever, I am not paying enough attention to like know how I'm yarning, if that makes sense. I can do it if I am completely focused on the project and I have to remind myself with every single stitch, yarn under, yarn under. I mean, you guys have seen how fast I crochet, and that's not a brag. I guess it's a humble brag. You guys tell me that I crochet very fast. I don't feel like I do, but you guys tell me like I wish I could crochet that fast. Like you can't barely see my hands when I crochet, and that's just because it's like not subliminal, subconscious. I can have a conversation in crochet and I can watch TV and stuff, but that is my yarn over stitches. When I do yarn under, it's just like, I don't know, I lose track like halfway through and then I'm like, oh shoot, how long have I not been yarning under? And then I have to frog out and figure out where my stitches change texture. So I said I was going to make this short, and here I am not making it short. So I looked at the pattern and I saw that the entire pattern was done in yarn under, and yarn under uses less yarn. The stitches are a lot tighter than yarn over is. So I knew that if I use the pattern as written with my normal yarn over, then the color changes would not line up and it would just look all wonky. And I knew that I didn't want to for this entire project, which, not gonna lie to you, it's a multiple hour project. I did not want to sit there in silence just thinking to myself, yarn under, because that seemed like hell on earth to me, honestly. So I chose to finish season 5 of Stranger Things, which we'll talk about in a minute here, and yarn over, as I always do, but then freehand the color changes. And that did not go well for me because this does not look like a red panda at all. It actually looks like a guinea pig. So for the red panda, the little muzzle is supposed to be white, or in this case I use cream. And then it's supposed to have like little eyebrows and then also a little bit of white around the sides here. And I don't know if I missed a few rounds or what, but I was trying to make sure, like, if in the pattern it said, like, with the color changes, you're doing 2 single crochets and then an increase all the way around with the color changes, I did 2 single crochet increase and then just color change as my heart led me to color change. My heart has failed me though yet again, because I don't know what I was thinking, like making this little piece here. I wasn't looking at the reference photo. So I decided to scrap this project. I still have this head and I use demi pearl for it, by the way. So this is big. This took a lot of yarn too. In fact, I had to go back to Michael's today and go shopping to find some more of this color in demi pearl so that I could make an actual red panda. But if I have some of this color in the demi pearl left over after my real red panda, then I might go ahead and just crochet a little body and like some little ears, because this definitely looks like a guinea pig, does it not? I mean, leave me a comment. Let me know if you think I could turn this into anything else, because I don't want it to go to waste. And with all the color changes here, with all the cut and ties, I won't be able to scrap that. Yes, I could get the bulk of the head back, but I already put in the work in, so we might as well make something of it. As Bob Ross would say, it's a happy little accident. So we'll do something fun with it. Actually, got to set that to go in the house so that we can figure it out. Okay, speaking of Stranger Things, I made a bunch of Demogorgons this week. I made 6 of them, and boy, I am ready to never see another Demogorgon ever again, which I feel like most people would say who have come in contact with a Demogorgon. I made 6 of them, and it took me all day, and I did something that I shouldn't do because I know that I hate doing it, and I don't know why. I'm just a glutton for punishment, and I batch crocheted. So I made all the feet first, all the arms, all of the bodies, then went and did all of the red parts of the face, and then all of the backs of the heads. I just dropped one. And when I was starting making the feet, I was like, yeah, 6 is a good number because I've got a couple conventions coming up. I think that they're going to sell well. 6 is a good place to start. And then maybe once I finish the 6, I'll do a couple more depending on how I'm feeling. Gosh, they are flying out of my arms left and right. And I made 6 pairs of feet, 6 pairs of arms. And then I got to the bodies and I'm like, why did I do 6? This is so much work. And by the last 2, I was so done with them. So done. Needless to say, I will be taking a break from this pattern for a while. I burnt myself out on it, which is nobody's fault but my own. If I had just done the project start to finish, which is normally how I like to do things, then I probably would have been able to make the 6 in, I don't know if it would have taken me less time, probably not, but I feel like I would have had less burnout after effects. I mean, you guys have seen this pattern everywhere. This is a pattern by Just a Mom Crocheting. I did decide to use dark gray for the body, and then for the flower part with all the teeth, I used Poppy with Premier Basic Chenille Brights. The last 3 demis that I made, so I have 9 now. The last 3 that I made, I used a tan body and then the ruby color, so the darker red for the face. And I think that I prefer, I don't know, I feel like if I paired the gray with the ruby, I think that that would probably be my favorite color combo. But they're both fine. I know that there's great debate in the crochet YouTuber community here about what color to make your demis, because some people make them in tan, some people make them in gray. Canon to the show, Demogorgons are actually white. In season 4, Hopper says that it is a white creature with no face, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, I feel like no matter what color you do the body, they're probably going to sell. So it's, it's whatever. Use whatever you want to use. Here's another thing about this, though, that I did not realize. These use a ton of yarn, and you wouldn't think that they do because they're just little guys, But to make 6 of these, I used an entire skein of burlap blanket, an entire skein and a half of Premier Basic Chenille Brights. That's a lot of yarn just to make 6 little creatures. I don't know why they take so much yarn. Maybe it has something to do with the face. So you might have noticed that I said 2 different brands of yarn there. That is because since I batch made them, I made all of the bodies with the burlap blanket, and I don't know what color this is. It's dark gray. It was really nice to work with, though. This was a very soft, luxurious skein to work with. But if you can tell on camera, the head is slightly lighter because I ran out of this burlap blanket, and I have not seen it sold anywhere besides Meijer in person. And we don't have a Meijer near us. So in a pinch, I grabbed the pewter color in the Chenille Basics Brights and did all of the heads in that. So it is a tad bit lighter than the body. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. Actually, on this one, I did the back of the head with the burlap blanket, and then that's where I ran out. So then for the leaves, I switched to the Premier Brights. So 6 little baby Demogorgons, and of course, as I was making these, I had to be watching Stranger Things. So indulge me for a second, okay? Spoilers, by the way. If you have not watched all through season 5 of Stranger Things, then maybe fast forward, or if just you don't care about my opinions. But I found the last season so funny. The amount of plot holes in this show. It started so strong in season 1. Season 3, I know gets a lot of hate, but I really like season 3. It's fun, it's colorful, all the neon lights, very nostalgic, even though I was not even a larva in the 1980s. It's still nostalgic. It was just a lot of fun. Season 5, though. Okay, plot hole number 1. The entire first 2 episodes, which is 4 hours of runtime, is them doing these crawls in the Upside Down, where they have to get past all these military guys to go through this one gate into the Upside Down. But the entire time, 11 could have just used her little pushy powers to lift up one of the giant sheet metal pieces like she does in the final episode. You're telling me the entire time they just could have done that and didn't have to risk going through the military gate? Also, the fact that Max was unconscious for years, I don't know, months, and then graduated with the rest of her class and was not blind or even on crutches after the disasters that she went through. And Dustin being valedictorian, wasn't this the same kid that never went to school because he was fighting the world and also had his Utah girlfriend change his grades because he had D's? But he got valedictorian. What? What is happening? And then the plot armor for the main characters. The plot armor is thicker than me after the holidays, okay? The Demogorgons, if you are a main character, the Demogorgons just run past you and just ignore your presence, or just stand there and aura farm and slowly come up to you and get beaten by a wine mom with her wine bottle. But they can take out an entire camp of armed military personnel with semi-automatic weapons. What? It takes some suspended belief, I feel like, for this show. There are too many plot holes to talk about, but I just thought it was really funny. Also, the final battle being 7 minutes long. All of 10 years of this show building up to this great big baddie who's this cool looking spider creature, this mind flayer. And then the kids are yeah, let's climb that mountain and go beat him. And they climb up this mountain with no gear in 0.2 seconds and then start shooting this giant thing that they have had a hard time fighting off for 10 years with water balloons. And then the mind flayer and Vecna's and that's the end of it. And then there's an hour of epilogue. Okay, my rant is over. I thought that it was funny. If you're a Stranger Things fan, my heart goes out to you. Speaking of bad endings, I kind of am craving restarting Game of Thrones, so I think that's going to be the next show that I watch after I finish the new season of Bridgerton. Okay, let's move on to something happy like this. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Mom! So this is Bluey. Non-copyright. This is a blue heeler dog plushie. So this pattern I got on Etsy for dirt cheap. It was 62 cents or something like that, which leads me to believe normally when people put patterns on Etsy for that cheap, it's normally because it's free elsewhere, either on their Instagram or their blog or someplace else. So I did not do a deep dive into this person, whether this pattern was free or not. It is her pattern. It does not appear to be stolen. Almost everything on her page or on her Etsy is very cheap. There are a handful of things that are more expensive, but I'm going to link it for you. Let me know if you find that it's stolen, but I did some sleuthing and it all looked legitimate to me. This took a long time, a very, very, very long time. This took me probably 2 hours to make this small little guy. So there is some color changes involved, and it's not that bad. I mean, you're really only color changing between the dark blue and the light blue. Gosh, there is stuffing just like popping out of his eyeballs. But all of the parts that you have to sew is what takes a long time, because it's like a sock monkey body. Oh yeah, then you get down here, you gotta do the light blue, but then you're not doing the dark blue, so you're color changing 2 colors throughout this pattern. So you make like a little sock monkey sort of situation, and then you make the ears separately, the arms separately, the legs separately, the tail separately, and then sew it all together. Bing, bam, boom, you have yourself an Australian dog. And the eyes. And the nose. Forgot about those. And the muzzle. They tell you in the pattern how to crochet a nose, but I just embroidered it because I don't feel like it would look that different, and embroidery was faster for me. One thing that I did not care for in the pattern is that for the muzzle and the nose, it asks you to use a significantly smaller yarn and hook. And then, because I didn't read that, it was in very fine print. I was half paying attention to the pattern, half paying attention to the show. And I made the muzzle first, and then I held it up to the face, and it like took up the entire face. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Then I read that you're supposed to make it in smaller yarn and hook. But I'm like, what's the point? Why not just write the pattern for like the same size yarn and hook that you've been using the whole time? I don't know. I didn't really understand that. Maybe there was a rhyme or reason to it. I'm a peasant and I don't know. But the pattern overall was well written. There were pictures in it that were very, very helpful. And I mean, I think it's Bluey. Like, he's gonna sell. He's gonna sell. But I will probably never make another one because for this small, nah, I don't think it's worth it. Maybe a bigger Bluey pattern I would do. Maybe, but I don't know. I would rather spend my time crocheting other characters if I'm gonna do characters, if I'm honest. I'm not a huge Bluey fan, but I have never seen a full episode. So being a pony fan, I imagine that if I did sit down and watch through Bluey, I would definitely be a Bluey fan as well. So maybe when that day comes, I will be obsessed with Bluey and make all of the characters. But until that day, he is going to be the one and only in the body bag until market, I guess. So speaking of blue things, I made a couple other blue things here. We are almost done, by the way. So these are little derpy tigers from K-pop Demon Hunters, and they all have different color eyes. So this one is orange, this one is gold, and this one is silver. That is because I only had one pair of each color disc. That's why they all have different colors. Technically, if I wanted it to look more realistic, I mean, use that term loosely, to the show, all of them would be like orange or gold because that's what color the tiger's eyes are. This is my pattern, by the way, the blue tiger pattern. It's available on my Etsy and on a website. It is, I mean, it's my own pattern, so of course I'm gonna toot my own horn here, but it is the fastest and easiest blue tiger pattern that I tried. I tried a couple of them before I bought a couple of them, looked at them. I only tried one of them and I was like, all of these are not going to fit the bill. They're going to take way too long with the color changes and everything. So I wrote my own. These guys only take me 30 minutes, 45 if I'm being very leisurely. They are very fast. They come out a very good size. I use a Parfait plush on these, but I recently just went to Michael's, actually today, and picked up some blue demi pearl that's a similar like medium blue tone to these. And I thought that I would start making the blue tigers out of the demi pearl because then they're gonna come out a little bit bigger and then I can charge a little bit more for them. But for a half an hour of work, I put at least a $20 price on these, and yes, they sell. they fly. So that is a great bang for your buck for your time. And I personally don't think that K-pop Demon Hunters, the popularity is going anywhere anytime soon. It is just like one of those like cult classic movies now of the mid 2020s. And they're in production making a K-pop Demon Hunters 2. I don't know what it's set to release, knowing Netflix, probably 8 years from now, but I know that it's in production. So you know, it's going to have a resurgence soon. So 3 of these little guys. And you know what? Let's save this big one for last. So I made something non-plushy this week, actually. And I am happy to let you know that not this Friday, because this Friday is the podcast episode, but next Friday I'm going to have a beefy vlog for you guys of like multiple weeks in my life, but it is crochet, it is the whole family going ice skating, it is a shopping vlog, it is just like a hodgepodge of spending the week with me. And in that vlog, I made this. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but this is a little bonnet hood for Celeste. She actually wore it all day today when we went ice skating. She looks freaking adorable in it. It ties underneath her chin like this. Her little red puffy cheeks come out a little bit. It's just so stinking cute. And with how cold it is here, that girl is always in some sort of hat or beanie. This yarn that I used on it is the Loops and Threads Facets from Michaels. I love the gradient in the band. Look at how nice that looks. And then I don't love as much the way that it stripes in the actual bonnet, but it's okay. And I'm actually going to be making her a matching sweater, but the sweater is not just using this yarn. It's not like, it's going to be a little interesting. I'm adding some spice to it. So stay tuned for the vlog to see this whole journey of me picking the yarn and everything, and some cute video of my baby wearing this little bonnet and going shopping for the yarn and all that stuff. So that's going to go back in the house because she's going to wear that. And the last thing that I have to show you guys on this fine Monday is a pattern that I have made a couple times before, including this variant of it. And this is a Forest Guardian. A few months ago, I made a mushroom Forest Guardian, and it actually sold to a subscriber. I never got to take it to market. The second time I made this pattern was for a commission for a subscriber. It was like a rainbow theme, so I did like little bedazzles on the eyes and everything. That project turned out really, really, really nice. I did like rainbow inner ears. So I decided to make another mushroom Forest Guardian and see if he'll sell at market. So I used demi pearl on this guy. You guys, I have really been liking the demi pearl. I wasn't sure a few weeks ago if it would be one of my staple favorites, but I've been using it with a 7mm metal hook and I love it. Honestly, I really like it. Even the skeins that aren't really that soft and a little bit more dense, I don't mind working with them with my 7mm metal hook. They don't hurt my hands, or I don't know. I just like it, and I really like how big the plushies come out too. So I used, I don't know what color this is called. It's not cinnamon stick. That's like a darker, it is, I don't know. It's like a brownie orange for the main body. For the inner ears, I thought that this burnout blanket matched perfectly, and it definitely does. This is burnout blanket in the color, hang on, sorry, there's like a fluff hanging out of his ear. Oh, I gotta cut that. It's like the yarn, like, I don't know what happened there. Something in the factory. This skein of demi pearl, I will say, had a few pieces like this hanging off of it. I was saying though that this is a burnout blanket color I ordered on Amazon. It is called Tabby, and it was recommended a lot by y'all for doing loaf cats, or just cats in general. I only wish that it had a little bit of black in it. I feel like that would have made it perfect for a commission that I have to do of cats, and I cannot find the right yarn for it because this is the closest that we can get. But again, there's no black in it, so it's not going to be accurate to the commissioner's cats. So I need to talk to them about that, but that's a different story. I thought that it worked perfectly with this demi pearl yarn and also gave like a nice earthy vibe to this little guy. Instead of doing horns, I did little mushrooms. Now they don't really look like mushrooms. I just freehanded them. I think that they're passable enough that you get the fact that they're mushrooms. Instead of using brown for the stems, I used sage green, the same color that I used for his satchel here, and that's just because it was what I had sitting next to me, to be honest. Plus I felt like brown next to this orangey brown, I felt like would make this color look a lot more orange if I had a true brown next to it, which I didn't want. I like that this is kind of ambiguous. Like, is it orange? Is it brown? I feel like with the moss color and with these pops of red, it leans more brown than it does orange. And that is perfect. That's what I was going for. So speaking of the moss patches, this is actually just a surface crochet using this nice vibrant but also mossy color green fur yarn. I picked it up on Amazon, and I do believe that it is linked on my Amazon storefront under like the crochet and more category. I forgot what I named it, but it's like where my hooks are and yarn and safety eyes and all that. It's in that category on Amazon. That is where I got this yarn. I omitted the tail, but I did do like a little patch right here of the moss growing, so it kind of looks like a little cottontail. It does definitely give bunny vibes, does it not? So I felt like a little cottontail moment was appropriate. The eyes I'm very excited about, so I hand painted these. The last mushroom spirit that I did not make eyes because that was before I was making eyes, but I had the idea of doing mushroom eyes way back then, and I just didn't have the materials to do it. So this time when I decided to make the mushroom spirit, I was like, well, now I have the stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. These are 35 millimeter eyes, and somehow I feel like these are still too small for this face. They're appropriate, but in the listing images for this pattern, they're like, the eyes are gigantic, like they take up pretty much the entire face, and these are just smaller than that. This pattern is really great. Like I said, this is my third time making it. For as big as it is, it does not take that long. The ears do take a while because you have to make essentially 4 of the same piece. Although that being said, you could just not do an inner color. I guess I could have not done an inner color and just left, you know, the outside. Also, it does come with 2 styles of ears. So you can make like floppy ears or these more like structured ones. And every time I've made this pattern, I've made the more structured ears just because the floppy ones have more work. So that's why I haven't done it. So he's got a little mushroom satchel here that is removable. And there's my little forest guardian. So with that is everything that I made this week. So thank you all so much for joining me. I need to drink some water, have a little snack, crack my knuckles. I know people hate it when I crack my knuckles, but it's a bad habit. I remember my mom telling me, don't do that. It's bad for your knuckles. And apparently it's not. It's just air bubbles trapped between your joints. I mean, I'm no scientist. At least I think that's what it is, what it means. But I'm going to do all those things and go sit down and film with Ryan the first episode of The Cosmic Couch. Speaking of the couch, endless thanks to our members in the Cosmic Couch Club. You guys keep this little galaxy spinning. Thank you all so much for joining me on this fine Monday. I hope you all are all staying warm out there. Unless you're in Australia, then I hope that you're staying cool out there. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.